Hello Internet, and welcome to the Liv Maddie review. After constant requests, mainly from Melanie Ashley, I'm finally diving into my thoughts on the series as it progresses. But first, a quick background on my thoughts on the show so far. I very much enjoy this show, but I'm nowhere near caught up with every episode, so feel free to let me know when I miss important details. I think that right now it's the second best show on Disney Channel. What's in first? Like you even need to ask. The parents are decently funny, but not as much as these parents were. But the genetic impossibilities of this particular family make me feel like some difficult conversations could be incoming. Could you imagine if Disney Channel actually took on adoption? It would make more sense with this show than for others, and I doubt they'd do it, but it's something to think about. I'm not sure what people generally think about Joey Bragg, but I think he's actually hilarious. He feels like a fully realized geek, instead of those caricatures they usually force into shows because the main character needs a quote-unquote smart friend to get him or her out of trouble. I also like Parker Rooney, mainly because I think Tenzing Norgay Trainer is one of the coolest names I've ever heard. I mean, it feels like he comes from 15 different countries, and that kind of diversity is awesome to see. And they don't force him to use some borderline racist accent like they did with Ravi on Jessie. And, of course, we saved the best for last. If you've watched any of my other videos in the past, you should have a pretty good idea about my opinion of the one and only Dove Cameron. Baby, I'm your biggest fan. I really like Liv. She reminds me of Kayla Morgan, the character Dove portrayed in Cloud 9. And even though I wasn't overly impressed with that performance, I still came away really liking Dove Cameron. As for Maddie, well, there's only really one way to describe her. Maddie Rooney is not only my favorite character in this show, and it's not even close by the way, she might be one of my all-time favorite characters on Disney Channel. Yeah, that's right, I'd put her over this girl, and this guy, and this guy, and this girl. Maybe not this girl, but you get my point. With all that said, let's dive into Ask Her More Rooney. So the episode begins with Liv and her Voltage co-star Josh doing a live stream of sorts for their fans. But Liv is perturbed when she realizes that the questions Josh is getting are a little different than the ones the fans are asking her. We then meet a guy named Dump Truck, and no, I'm not making that up, confronting Maddie about an overdue library book. She doesn't care too much about it, and then Joey returns a mutilated book in exchange for a favor. So yes, this is as close as Disney Channel will ever get to The Godfather. We get a great scene where Liv and her mom discuss changing the conversation in reference to earlier when Liv was only asked questions about her looks and not her show, Voltage. But trouble ensues when Maddie can't submit her transcripts to colleges unless her library book is found and returned. Not even Vice Principal Mom can save her now. We eventually get a reintroduction to the Parker tunnels, which, for me, are very cool if not a little structurally unstable. All this is happening while Joey thinks that Dump Truck is using his locker to store a dead body because, I don't know, I guess that's what they do in high school nowadays. Not much of a spoiler alert to tell you that no, there's no body in there. Just a classic misunderstanding and we're moving on. So Liv and Josh are at the Fan Pick Awards red carpet, and once again, the questions that circulate Liv are shallow ones at best. Eventually, Liv takes her mother's advice and changes the conversation by calling out media outlets that only focus on looks and appearances for actresses, instead of focusing on the more important aspects of their work. I do like and fully support the message, make no mistake, but I do feel like it could have been delivered a bit better. I love the way Liv took on the reading system the boys made by being inspired to create the song What a Girl Is. Not that Liv should need to sing about all of her issues necessarily, but it just didn't feel like this episode's message was addressed with any heart or passion. It felt more akin to having someone complain that a waiter got their order wrong. I don't mean to be hypercritical, but I do want to hold this show up to a higher standard because I have seen great things from it, and just like Girl Meets World, I wanted to continue doing those great things consistently. Oh yeah, and apparently Maddie's book is acting as a literally impossible supporting mechanism for the entire house. Alright, playing fast and loose with the laws of physics is one thing, but this is beyond asinine. Needless to say, I wish they would have given Maddie a bit more to do in this episode, but hey, what can you do? And that's Ask Her More Rooney. A good episode, no doubts there, but it could have been much better. Excusing their insulting disregard for the logic of a book holding up a house. Let me repeat that, a house. This episode is fun in pretty much all stages. Every side quest gets at least a few good laughs out of me, and at the end of the day, that's what you want out of a sitcom. The take-home message could have been executed better, as I mentioned, but I don't really have a problem with the way they chose to handle it. It's funny, Maddie is flawless, and it gets some good moments out of the characters that are present, even though the dad isn't for whatever reason. And hey, Kristen Bell is in it, and she's funny too. Give it a watch or a rewatch and decide for yourself. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, help me out with the likes, subs, and shares, and check out my channel for DCOM reviews, Girl Meets World reviews, and other awesome content. Until then...
What?
We're going to kill Tony Slim Nose.
In a taste contest.